What do you call a rescue mission where no one fires a shot, but everyone comes back haunted? The briefing room at Bagram Airfield was a concrete box, its walls stained with years of dust and secrets. It was 19 o'clock, October 23rd, 2018, and I stood at the front. My team sprawled across folding chairs, their faces hard but focused. I was 38, a chief petty officer with SEAL Team 6, my hair cropped tight, my eyes burning from too little sleep. The projector hum, casting a grainy map of the Pakistani border, a red circle marking the target, a terrorist camp 15 kilometers over the line, holding 15 American hostages. Colonel Reese, our task force commander, paced behind me, his voice clipped. Operation Midnight Vulture. You go in, you get them out, you disappear. No shots, no trace. Cal's got eyes everywhere, and Pakistan's not our playground. Fuck this up, and we're looking at a diplomatic shitstorm. I studied the map, my fingers tracing the ridge above the camp, the ravine we'd use for approach. The host stage workers, journalists, contractor shed been grabbed 3 weeks ago, their faces plastered across CNN before the Pentagon clamped it down. Cal, the Al-Qaeda splinter leader, was a ghost, his file a patchwork of rumors and body counts. Intel said he was in the camp, maybe with 20 to 30 fighters, AKs, RPGs, and a grudge against the West. Our window was tight. 14 minutes from boots on the ground to extraction. Time to a satellite gap when Cal's drones couldn't see us. The stealth Black Hawk would drop us 3 clicks out, pick us up to clicks from the camp. No margin, no backup. Murphy, my point man, leaned back, his boots propped on a chair. What's the row, Chief? We get spotted, we just wave. His Boston accent was thick, his grin sharp. I shot him a look. Rules of engagement are simple. Don't get spotted. Knives, hands, whatever keeps it quiet. We're ghosts. Reaper, our sniper, snorted, his shaved head gleaming under the fluorescence. Ghosts with a ticking clock. Love it, the team chuckled, but it was tight, the kind of laugh you use to bury nerves. Doc, our medic, was quiet, his hands folded, already thinking about the blood he'd have to stop. Ghost, our comms guy, was testing his radio, his earpiece dangling. The other smoke, Viking, Hawk, Boomer, Shade, Nitro, Jinx, cruisewear checking gear, their movements practiced, automatic. We'd done this before, but never like this. I walked them through the plan, my voice steady, pointing at the map. Hello drops us here, 3 clicks north. We hump to this ravine, 300 meters from the camp. Murphy takes point. We hit the east perimeter, neutralize sentries, cut the fence. Hostage buildings here, central, 1-story barred windows. Drone says 15 heat signatures, maybe guards mixed in. We breach, secure the package, exfil to this clearing to clicks west. Hellos, they're at 2350. Not a second later, Viking, our breacher, raised a hand. Doors locked. I'm guessing. I nodded. Steel. Intel says, you got pics, he grinned, patting his vest. Always, Chief. Reese stepped in, his eyes like flint. Cowell's no amateur. He's got tripwires, dogs, maybe mines. You're crossing a border, so no air support, no QRF. You're on your own. Silence settled heavy. I met each man's gaze, seeing the steel beneath the fear. We've trained for this, I said. We move fast, we move quiet, we bring them home. Questions, none came. We were ready. or as ready as you get when the stakes are 15 lives and a war nobody wants. We kitted up in a hangar, the air thick with jet fuel and grease. I checked my gear, suppressed M4, 210 rounds, suppressed Glock 1945 rounds, Kabar knife, NVGs, trauma kit, zip ties, chem lights. My vest was heavy, 30 pounds of plates and pouches, but it felt like home. Murphy was taping his knife sheath, his fingers quick. Doc was packing extra tourniquets, his face pale but set. Ghost tested the drone link, its feed showing the camp in grainy thermal warm blobs moving, sentries patrolling. Reaper was cleaning his scope, though he wouldn't use it tonight. Smoke, our demolitions guy, was double-checking his flashbangs just in case. Viking was sharpening his cutters, the rasp loud in the quiet. Hawk, Boomer, Shade, Nitro, Jinx, and Cruz were adjusting straps, joking low, their voices a hum of focus. The hello ride was 20 minutes, the Black Hawk's rotors muffled, its cabin dark except for the red glow of our NVGs. We sat shoulder to shoulder, the vibration rattling my teeth, the cold seeping through my gloves. I closed my eyes, picturing Rachel's face, her smile, when I'd left 6 months ago. Ben's hug, his voice saying, "Come back, Dad." I pushed them away, locking them in a box I'd open later. Murphy nudged me, his grin faint. "You good, Chief," I nodded. Always. He didn't buy it, but he didn't push. Ghost's voice came through. Drones live. 6 tangos outside. Camp's quiet. I checked my watch. 23:30. Showtime. The hello dropped us 3 clicks north, its skids barely touching before we spilled out, the rotors fading as it climbed. We hit the ground running, low and fast, the terrain rocky, the air sharp with pine. Murphy took point, his rifle up, his steps silent. I followed, my NVGs turning the night into a green haze, my M4 ready. The ravine was ahead, a jagged cut in the earth, and we slid into it, the walls shielding us from eyes above. The camp was 300 meters away, its lights faint, its sounds carry on the wind voices, a dog's bark, the hum of a generator. My pulse was steady, but my gut was tight, the weight of command pressing hard. These were my guys, my responsibility, and those hostages were counting on us to be perfect. We moved through the ravine, its floor uneven, rocks shifting underfoot. Murphy signaled a halt, his hand up, and we dropped low, listening. A patrol was above, 2 men, their boots crunching, their voices low in Pashto. I held my breath, my pistol out, the suppressor's weight familiar. They passed, their flashlight beams missing us, and we moved again, faster, the ravine narrowing as it neared the camp. At 100 meters, it petered out, leaving us exposed. We dropped to our bellies, crawling through dirt that smelled of diesel and decay, the cold biting my elbows. The camp loomed, its tents and buildings stark in the NVGs, the sentries' cigarettes glowing like targets. Murphy spotted the first sentry, leaning against a crate, his AK slung, his cigarette a pinpoint of light. I gave the nod, and Murphy slithered forward, his knife out, his body a shadow. The sentry didn't see him, didn't hear the faint rustle of fabric. Murphy struck, one hand clamping the man's mouth, the other driving the blade into his skull base. The sentry collapsed, his cigarette falling, and Murphy dragged him behind the crate, blood pooling black. I signaled the team to move, my heart pounding, the adrenaline a live wire. 1 down, but the clock was burning. 11 minutes left. The fence was next, a rusted mess of wire and mesh, its posts leaning. Viking knelt, his cutters snipping, the cloth muffling each cut. Ghost checked the drone. To Tango's west, 40 meters. Holding, I nodded, signaling Reaper and smoke to cover. The fence gave a gap just wide enough, and we slipped through, reforming in a tense shadow. The camp smelled of smoke and unwashed bodies, its sound sharper now, low voices, a door creaking, the generators hum. The hostage building was 30 meters away, its walls scarred, a light leaking under the door. 2 guards stood outside, talking, one laughing. I signaled Reaper and smoked to take them. They moved, silent, their knives flashing as they grabbed the guards, throat slit in unison. The bodies dropped, dragged into shadows, their rifles stashed. My heart was a drum, the adrenaline fire, but I kept my breath even, my pistol up. The camp was quiet, but I felt eyes, that prickling sense of danger. Murphy tested the door locked. Viking knelt, his lockpicks out, his fingers steady. I covered my M for sweeping, my NVGs catching every detail, tense frayed edges, the crates, the glint of glass. Ghost whispered, heat inside, at least 10. Guards or hostages? Viking worked, the lock resisting, each second an eternity. My mind flashed to Rachel, Ban, but I locked them away. The lock clicked, and Viking eased the door open a crack. I leaned in, my breath held, and saw the hostages, their eyes wide, the guards oblivious, the room a heartbeat from chaos. The door creaked, just a whisper, but it felt like a scream in the silence. I held my breath, my pistol up, peering into the dim room. The hostages were there, 15 of them, huddled against the far wall, their faces gaunt, their clothes torn. The single bulb swayed, casting shadows that danced across the dirt floor. 2 guards were near the door, one slumped in a chair, his AK across his lap, his snores soft. The other sat on a crate, scrolling on a phone, its glow lighting his beard. I signaled Murphy and Reaper, their knives ready, their eyes locked on mine. We had seconds before this went south, and the clock was burning 8 minutes to get out, get to the hello, and vanish. Murphy moved first, a shadow sliding across the floor, his knife glinting as he reached the dozing guard. Reaper followed, his steps silent, closing on the phone guy. They struck together, Murphy's blade slicing the sleeper's throat, Reaper's stabbing the other's chest. The guards slumped, blood pooling, and we dragged them to a corner, their bodies heavy, their rifles clattering faintly. I winced, but no shots came. I stepped inside, my pistol sweeping, and whispered U.S. Navy. Stay quiet, stay low. The hostages stirred, their eyes wide, some sobbing, their relief a dangerous edge. Noise was our enemy, and we were deep in their world. Doc moved among them, his knife cutting zip ties, his voice low as he checked for injuries. A woman, Claire, I'd learned, grabbed my arm, her fingers bony, her voice a hiss. Cowell's next door. More guards, my gut twisted. The drone hadn't picked that up, the walls too thick for thermal. I nodded, signaling the team to speed up. A man, maybe 40, his face bruised, whispered, "They've got cameras." I glanced at Ghost, who shook his head. No signal intercepts, no sign of tech. We had to trust luck, and luck was a shitty ally. I helped a contractor, Tom, to his feet, his weight heavy, his breath sour with fear. "Move," I said, my voice low but firm. We formed up, the hostages in the center, Murphy at the door, me at the rear. Claire was limping, her ankle swollen, but she waved off Doc, her jaw set. I admired her grit, that we couldn't slow. The room smelled of sweat and despair, the air thick with dust. I checked my watch. 7 minutes. The hello was spooling up to clicks away, its rotors muffled but not silent. We step into the night, the cold biting my face, the camp still quiet but heavy, like a storm about to break. The hostages stumbled, their bare feet catching on rocks, but they stayed silent, guided by reaper and smoke. I scanned the shadows, my pistol ready, the NVGs turning the world into a green maze. We retraced our steps, aiming for the fence, the hostages breathing loud in the silence. Ghost's voice crackled. Movement. West sigh. 3 tangos. Arm, my pulse spiked. We dropped behind a stack of crates, the hostages crouching, their eyes wide. Claire was next to me, her ankle worse, her face tight. I signaled silence, locking eyes with her. She nodded, gripping a man's hand, her husband, Paul, his glasses cracked, his face pale. The guards were 20 meters away, their flashlight beams sweeping, their voices sharp, like they'd sensed trouble. One stopped, his light hitting the crate where we'd stashed the first sentry. My breath caught, my pistol up, my finger off the trigger. If they found him, we were done. I signaled Viking and Ghost to flank. They moved silent, their knives out, while I covered the hostages, my M4 steady. The guards were close, their boots crunching, their rifles unslung. Viking struck, his blade slicing the nearest guard's throat, blood spraying black. Ghost got the second, a stab to the chest, the men collapsing with a grunt. The third turn, his rifle rising, but Murphy tackled him, his knife finishing it before a shot. It was over in seconds, no shots, but my heart was a jackhammer. I signaled the team to move, helping Claire, her weight light but unsteady. The fence was ahead, the gap still open, and we slipped through, the hostages clumsy, Tom panting, his face gray. The ravine was next, its walls steep, its floor slick with loose rocks. We guided the hostages, Reaper and Smoke half carrying Tom, Claire leaning on Paul. The ground shifted, a rock sliding, and Tom grunted, the sound loud in the dark. I froze, my pistol up, listening. No shots, no lights. We kept going, my NVGs picking out the path, my mind racing. The extraction point was a clearing to clicks out, hidden by a ridge. We pushed hard, the hostages slowing, their strength gone. Claire tripped, her ankle giving, and I caught her, my arm under hers. Keep moving, I whispered. She nodded, her eyes fierce, and leapt on. The ravine widened, the ground leveling, and we saw the clearing, its edges sharp in the NVGs. We reached it with 2 minutes left, the hostages collapsing, their breaths heaving. I signaled Ghost to radio, Vulture 1, Vulture 6, package secure, ready for pickup static, then copy inbound, 1 mic, 1 minute. I scanned the horizon, my team forming a perimeter, the hostages silent, their eyes on me. Claire was next to Paul, her hand in his. Tom sprawled, gasping. The camp was quiet, no pursuit yet, but Cowell's men would find the bodies, and hell would follow. I gripped my M4, my knife heavy against my chest, and waited, the night closing in. The hello appeared, a black shadow against the stars, its rotors a low thrum, kicking up dust that stung my eyes. It touched down, the ramp dropping, and we moved, fast, loading the hostages first. Doc helped Claire, her face tight with pain, Paul supporting her. Tom was heavy, Reaper and Smoke dragging him, his legs limp. The others scrambled, their bare feet slipping, their hands grasping. Claire grabbed my arm, her voice hoarse. Thank you, I nodded, pushing her toward the door, my eyes on the horizon. My team piled in. Murphy Lass, his emphor still up, his eyes on the cap. I climbed aboard, the hello lifting before my boots hit the deck. We were airborne, the ground falling away, the campus back in the dark. 14 minutes. No shots fired. We'd done the impossible. The hello banked hard, heading for Afghanistan, its cabin dark, the red glow of our NVGs faint. The hostages huddled against the bulkhead, some crying, others staring blankly, their faces carved by weeks of fear. Claire was next to Paul, her ankle wrapped, her hand in his. Tom was on the floor, Doc checking his pulse, his face gray but alive. The contractor, a heavy-set guy named Mark, was shaking, his eyes distant. A journalist, Sarah, was sobbing, her notepad clutched like a lifeline. I sat by the door, my pistol in hand, the adrenaline fading, leaving me hollow. Murphy leaned close, his voice low. Clean up, Chief. I nodded, but it didn't feel clean. We'd left bodies, their blood on our gloves, and Cowell was still out there, his camp intact. The hostages were safe, but the war wasn't over. Doc worked, his hands quick, checking for shock, dehydration, injuries. Claire's ankle was sprained, maybe broken, but she refused painkillers, her eyes fierce. Paul whispered to her, his voice soft, and I caught, "We're okay. We're okay." Tom needed fluids, his blood pressure low, and Doc rigged in for the bag sway with the hello's pitch. Sarah was hyperventilating, and Ghost knelt beside her, his voice calm, talking her down. My team was quiet, their faces hard, their gear piled. Reaper was cleaning his knife, the blade catching the light. Smoke was checking his flashbangs, his hands steady. Viking was rubbing his wrists, the cutter's strain lingering. Hawk, Boomer, Shade, Nitro, Jinx, and Cruz were sprawled, their eyes distant, processing. I stared out the door, the mountains a blur, my mind replaying the op. The sentries' faces, their blood warm on my gloves. Claire's grip, her whispered warning about Cal. The guards at the fence, their flashlights to close. We'd been perfect, but perfection doesn't erase the weight. I thought of Rachel, her last letter in my vest, her words about Ben's soccer game. I wanted to be there, not here, but here was my job, my life. Ghost's voice broke my thoughts. Bagram in 10. I nodded, checking my watch. 1:20. The hostages were safe, but I felt Cowell's shadow, his rage brewing in that camp. We landed at Bagram at 1:30, the hello skids hitting hard, medics and intel officers swarming. The hostages were whisked away, Claire limping, Paul supporting her, Tom on a stretcher. Sarah was clutching her notepad, her eyes wet but steady. I watched them go, a knot in my chest loosening, but not gone. My team debriefed in a concrete room, our gear piled, the air thick with sweat and coffee. Commander Holt was there, his face lined, his handshake firm. Textbook, Caldwell. You brought them home? I nodded, my throat tight. Thank you, sir. It didn't feel like enough. I saw the blood, the shadows, the guards' faces. Textbook doesn't cover that. We stripped our gear, the room quiet except for the click of metal, the rustle of vests. Murphy was sipping coffee, his eyes red. Doc was writing notes, his hands stained with antiseptic. Ghost was on his tablet, downloading the drone feed, his face focused. Reaper was leaning against the wall, his knife sheathed, his jaw tight. Smoke was joking with Viking, their laughs forced, a shield against the weight. Hawk, Boomer, Shade, Nitro, Jinx, and Cruz were cleaning weapons, their movements automatic, their voices low. I sat, my M4 across my lap, my knife out, its blade dull but sharp enough. I cleaned it, the rhythm calming, but my mind was La Halil's cat, the bodies, the hostages' eyes. Holt came back, his voice low. Intel's got the hostages. Their talking Cowell was there. Left an hour before you hit. You got lucky. Lucky. The word stung. We'd been perfect. But luck had carried us, and I hated that. Any word on pursuit? I asked. Holt shook his head. Camp's quiet for now. Cowell's not stupid. Oh, regroup. Not chase, I nodded. But it didn't sit right. Cowell would come, maybe not for us, but for someone. We were dismissed, told to rest, but sleep didn't come. I sat on my bunk, my knife in hand, the blade catching the light. Ghost was next to me, scrolling through photos of his daughter, his face soft. Murphy was snoring, Reaper writing a letter. Normal, but not normal. Not after that. I flew home a month later to Virginia, where Rachel and Ben were waiting. The airport was loud, civilian life jarring after months of dust and silence. Rachel hugged me, her arms tight, her eyes searching mine. She knew not to ask, but she saw the change, the shadows I carried. Ben ran to me, his hug fierce, his voice muffled. You're back, Dad. I held him, my throat tight, feeling the weight of everything I couldn't say. The mission was classified, buried in some Pentagon file, but it lived in me, every step, every shadow. We drove home, the radio playing some pop song, Ben talking about school, Rachel's hand on mine. I smiled, nodded, but I was half there, half in that camp, the blood still warm, Cowell's eyes a ghost. At home I unpacked, my gear stashed in the garage, my knife in a drawer, my NVGs in a box. They weren't trophies, they were reminders of what we did, what we lost, what we carry. Rachel watched me, her questions silent, and I tried to be the man she married, the father Ben needed. I played catch with him, laughed at his jokes, but the camp was there, its dust in my lungs, its shadows in my dreams. I saw Claire's face, her grip, her whispered thanks. I saw the sentries, their blood, their silence. I saw Cowell out there, planning, waiting. The Pentagon called it a win, a clean-up, 15 lives saved. I called it survival, a job done, a weight carried. My team scattered, new missions, new fights. Murphy texted, a dumb meme, his way of checking in. Doc sent an email asking if I was okay. Ghost called, his daughter's birthday coming up. Reaper was quiet, like always, but I knew he carried it too. We were brothers, bound by that night, by the silence, by the blood. Cowell's still out there, somewhere, and part of me wonders if he knows how close we came. 14 minutes, no shots fired, and we brought them home. That's my story. That's Operation Midnight Vulture.